Hey guys, welcome to the pod team. My name is AJ.
Hello guys, this is Lex. Once again, welcome back to another video.
Okay,
And
guys,
what do we have today, brother?
today is a finance video, and you already know if you've been following the channel, we're going to talk about FRC, First Republic Bank of San Francisco. Is this another bank crisis, or are we still in one? It's the same thing. It's a bank crisis, no doubt. It's basically domino effects going throughout. Uh, Right now, the First Republic Bank is seized by the government. And as you can see, if we show the stock screen, this is the stock in this past few days. We were just talking about how it did a 50% drop on Tuesday.
And that
And
doesn't look good.
now we were even talking about how would you invest in this area? And we were definitely saying no. I don't see any good potential to invest in this bank. And now, as you can see, even today from $6, it went down to $3. I think the low was like 280 something. And then on after hours, it was going down another 50% from this. So if you were a short seller, you're loving this. This is the type of trade you want to love. I mean, you want to get. Sorry. And if you we look out the whole outlook, it was from $220. That is a 95% drop. 95% drop in what's happening right now. And to get a little speculation of why this is happening, we need to know what started this all. So, like we were saying, earnings was going to be very important. A lot of people are going to be looking in debt to a lot of companies, a lot of banks. So the first week of earnings was obviously the big banks, and the big banks were making a lot of money because they got a whole new level of depositors coming into their bank. Because no, obviously the bank scare of SVB scared a lot of people, and they transferred their money into bigger banks. So you see a lot of bigger banks making money. So the stock market's saying, hey, people are making money. And then we had the tech earnings coming. So the tech earnings basically was another factor. A lot of people are laying off. A lot of tech companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, even Apple started like restricting, what's it called? I apologize. Getting a raise. Sorry, I was stuck with my words right there.
Pros, huh?
Yeah, so they stopped giving raises out to their employees. So Apple earnings is, by the way, coming up too. So look for that. Next week is very important because it's going to tell us what the Fed is going to do. They're going to raise the rates again another quarter points, and that will like every time the Fed is about to raise a rate, there's a bank that's failing right now. So
Yeah.
that is very key to look at. And I'm just so I have so much information right now for this stock right now that I'm just ranting whatever's coming to my head about it right now.
Well,
So
the thing is with this guys, like you and I talk about it in previous videos, that it wasn't over yet, and it's not over yet. Here we go again, another bank in trouble, and if the Fed goes also a quotable point, there's gonna probably be another bank in trouble again. And what else you have? I mean, I can see you're excited about talking of this information you have.
well, right now it's very key to look at like we're talking about the earnings. Man, I am so like filled that I can't get my words out. But anyways, the tech earnings came, and we had a pop in Microsoft, we had a pop in Google, we had a pop in Amazon, we had a pop in Chipotle, McDonald's. Those were companies that are doing really good. But Facebook is facing losses in their Meta division. people aren't really focusing on that right now. They're looking at the, how the ad revenue and everything is still going. So you saw Facebook was doing good, Snapchat was not doing good. Amazon did pop 14% after hours, and then it did a major drop because people are saying that, hey, uh, they're not making as much money as they were, and their operating expenses are way too high. So that was the key downfall for Amazon after hours when it had a 15% jump. Today was down as much as 5%, but it gathered back up. So the stock market is still trending on an upward trend. People are still in that greed index, like we talked about in the previous video. If you don't know what we're talking about, check out the fear and greed index. It's very key. So right now we're going back towards the neutral area because the Fed is about to raise rates, or are they going to pause rates? It's a very big decision coming up with that going forward. After these earnings were after these earnings were given out, people are looking in debt, like focusing on every detail of these companies and banks. First Republic did do its earnings, and guess what? It lost $100 billion worth of deposits taken out from that bank, and they're saying that
We
it's
would
fine.
their loss was in the first quarter, right? Only
Yeah, they just reported their earnings right now.
yeah.
So, they're saying that it's stabilizing, but I mean, anybody that loses $100 billion of deposits is obvious. As a shareholder, no one wants to be in that. So they don't want to be another SVB bank where their shareholders lost a lot of money, and that's what's happening right now.
And AJ, just to add to what you're saying, they lost $100 billion after they received $30 billion bailout from the largest bank in America, right?
I mean, JP Morgan and everything is basically, I think, in it to, basically take over that bank. So, JP Morgan did give a lot of money in the First Republic Bank to try to save it. But, there when this happens, it's hardly safe when people are already fearful of losing their deposits.
So do
So
you think it was the $30 billion bail? Do you think it was too late
I,
for
oh,
First Republic?
definitely was too late. It was just a strategy to, hey, we're gonna help you with $30 billion in assets, and if anything ever happens, the way you can pay us back is basically we take over all their assets.
So they're
So
buying it for pennies, basically.
basically, that's what happens. So it's just another bank takeover, and so if people think that if you're a JP Morgan shareholder, it's fantastic. But if you're looking at it as a as a capitalist, you don't like this because then a monopoly occurs, and when a monopoly occurs, things can happen. And like, let's say if you're banking with JP Morgan and you feel secure, but if something happens, your assets get seized and everything, and that's the only bank you had, you know it's not a good place. You don't want all your eggs in one basket. You want to
Well,
make.
as is right now, Bank of America, Chase, and Wells Fargo, they don't, as a customer service, their reputation is not that good at all.
Correct. I mean,
So adding to what you're saying, which is it could become a problem
yeah.
if we don't have the options to go to a different bank.
So what people are looking for moving forward is still a rescue deal trying to happen, trying to save that stock. But right now, what we know so far is that the government has seized the bank. So with that being said, I mean, do you still want, like, people were messaging me, do you think do I think I should invest in FRC right now because they might be getting it for pennies from what it is actually worth. But you gotta take into account uh, what are the reasons why you should invest. Like, there's no good reason right now to invest in that bank. It's not doing good. It's not making any profits right now. It's in real risk. and it's gonna need a bailout to get it saved. But I mean, do you want to be in a bank that needs a bailout? Do you want to put your money in there? Do you want to put your assets in there? I wouldn't recommend it. It is one of the top 30 banks in America though. So is it big enough to be safe, or is it too big but it did
Well,
fail?
in that you mentioned it, that's one of the top banks in America. For those of you who are watching outside the US, this bank is a fairly new bank compared to this JP Morgan and Bank of America and Wells Fargo. This bank was founded in 1985 and is based in San Francisco, California. And it
Well,
has 93 branches in 11 states. So compared to JP Morgan, yeah, it is a small bank, but it's still big enough to put people to worry. Like you said, it's not safe to invest at the moment in that bank.
well, if you're looking at it from this standpoint, it was at its peak. It was $39 billion. It was worth $39 billion. At the end of the day of trading right now, the company's worth only $65 million as of a you know a shareholder company. It did lose $100 billion in its quarter, so that's something to be worried about, and it's likely to just have a government takeover. So going forward with it, if you do have your money in that bank, my opinion, again, you can do whatever you want. We are not financial advisors. If I was banking with that bank, I would take all my money out. There's no reason to put that money in that bank. And especially if you have more than $250,000, you don't want to
I
see,
was gonna say, if you have less than 250, you borderline safe.
yeah. But I still would, I wouldn't risk it. You don't
Yeah.
know, especially what's happening right now. Uh, is it safe? Do you think it's safe to keep a lot of money in the bank now?
Well, it depends how big is your portfolio. Like if you have like liquid money, I think you had to have more than one bank. It's just obvious that you had to have. Let's say you're worth liquid 1 million. I think you need to have at least 7 bank accounts, different banks in the different banks. Just because it's just not safe anymore to have $250,000. Worst case scenario, you will get the money back, but it might take time for the government to provide the funds to the bank, and then that funds is gonna be transferred to you. It might take a minute, and you're gonna be worried. So no, to answer your question, I don't think it's safe. Not in one bank.
So
Can you hear me?
yeah, did you hear that, Lex?
No.
Oh man, it's like thundering outside.
Okay.
I think somebody arrived at my house. That's pretty scary.
And
And
you guys here? That's why you pause.
my dogs are barking nonstop right now.
Or do
Anyways, going back to FRC. Sorry guys. Uh, this at its peak was $220. Right now, it's at after hours. It's at 230, 232. So if you were shorting the stock, you've made like a lot of money, especially at this area where, remember, guys, at this area is basically this, when this started falling. This is when the SVB debacle has arrived, and then ever since then, it has been trending on this line. When this is a little like graph advice that I see, a technical advice that I see, or I'm gonna give technical advice. I'm gonna give when it's in a downward trend like this, especially like this, and it is basically right here. How do you say consolidating right here? So it's like it's not moving nowhere, moving nowhere, moving nowhere. More than likely, it's gonna fall more because the reason why is when there's something that when like it's saying that the government's going to save the bank and everything, so it should gradually focus and come back at least this way, at least trend a little bit upward. But it wasn't doing that. It was basically staying in the same rate, and that is basically the Mac and the volume basically saying that it's gonna come crashing down, and that's exactly what happened. And that's what we were saying these past weeks, that, is it still safe to invest in the FRC stock? No, it's not. Would I invest in it right now? No, I still wouldn't. You got to remember, guys, that I know this is a steal deal, but as a long term investor, oh, if you want to day trade on this stock, go right ahead. This is amazing stock to day trade, but you could lose a lot of money on day trading too. So please be advised of that too. But as a long term investor, I would be waiting for some good news, at least like saying, hey, the government's taking over. We're going to bail out. We're going to start over. We're going to see what the assets are. We're going to have new management come in or something, some sort of good news to, push this stock up. Now, when this good news arrives, because a lot of people are still hoping for some rescue deal. Now, if good news arrives in this deal, you'll see this stock, if it gradually starts going in an upward trend, it needs one more good news, and this stock will blast up because there's a lot of short float in this stock right here. It will blast up. So that's what you need to look for. That's my advice, and I think that's all I have for First Republic today.
So basically, you're saying just wait,
If yeah, just if you're
wait,
in, if you're
wait to see it, wait to see if the government's gonna come and help.
look for
And
the government help, and then look for the government not to intervene in its business plans. Like if it starts doing a better management planning, it starts reversing, it starts getting depositors back in. That is going to be the big key. If depositors start coming back into that bank, that is, you'll see a reversal, and you'll see like a crazy reversal. That's when I
so,
think is a time to invest. Other
so
than
what
that,
happened
I
if,
wouldn't touch this stock.
so what happened if it's not the government coming in and helping?
Well, if
Let's
the
say
government
JP.
doesn't come in and let's say Chase helps people out, and then like it has guarantees and stuff like that, First Republic really has to turn things around to make its depositors and the shareholders know that they're going to be secure in the future. Like they're saying that hey, we're stabilizing. But right now, it looks like it's too late. The government is taking over that bank because the stock prices are just dropping phenomenally. It's been dropping like 50%, like for like the past week, more than that, like daily, and that's not very healthy. And that is a sign, it's because people have lost faith in banks a little ever since the '08 crash, where Bear Stearns was like, hey, we're fine, we're okay, we'll get back up. And Lehman Brothers, same thing. We're fine, we're okay, we'll get back up. And it never happened. Banks like that have been there for a while, long time, they crash. And I think First Republic it has a lot of work to do, and I don't see it happening unless they really change their management outlook, their investment outlook. They're in for a lot of work, and a lot of times it doesn't work out. So more than likely Chase would probably acquire it, and that's what it looks like.
You know what I don't want to see next week? I don't want to read about the top executives in this bank moving money, their personal money out, because that always happens. Top executives move their money before everything comes down.
That's
Eh,
actually,
eh,
well, for investment wise, that's actually good to look at. If they do that, then you know what banks to look for that are next to crash. Because right now I mean, there's a lot of banks that opened. There's a lot of money out there, and it might, I don't know, this year is not a year to like really be greedy. It is a time where you actually want to like wind down, save some money, and look for good opportunities, like really good opportunities, and invest in the right companies that are actually making profit.
which at the moment there are not that many. Investing right now is mainly mostly long-term investment, right?
So I
Because of the way things are going on.
well, we were talking about some companies in the last video too that are like basically like recession proof. You see companies like Ulta, you see companies like McDonald's, Chipotle, you see companies like Microsoft, Apple. They're big name companies that are like making profit, even if it's like during a recession. Uh, and Apple's coming into the banking game now. Apple started, and we'll talk about it in another video. Apple started a savings account with a high APR rate that beats a lot of these other banks too. They're giving 4.15 APY. So look for Apple, look for Microsoft, Chipotle, McDonald's, uh, even Nike was doing good. Look for basically.
Isn't
Mhm.
isn't that something? Big Mac, rice and beans always come through for us, even in the tough times. I can't even believe that.
Yeah, I mean, I would hang tight, put some money in the right places, but open a savings account with like the right banks. That
Yeah,
Apple getting into the banking system, and you know how much liquidity Apple has, so they're one of the top companies. So look for them coming into the banking game. So it's gonna be something to look at. Like I mean, Chase and other companies should look out for tech companies coming into this banking,
yeah.
and they're joined forces with Goldman Sachs. So Goldman Sachs is a big company too. So I would maybe invest some of my money in there because you know how many Apple users there are. So you'll see Goldman Sachs definitely have big quarters coming up because if people are moving their money into the Apple savings account, which is backed by Goldman Sachs, you'll see Goldman Sachs quarterly earnings next year, next coming earnings probably spike up too. So I would look for that. Again, not investment advice. Not I'm not a personal advisor, investment advisor, or financial advisor of any kind. I just read. So thank you guys for having us, listening to us, especially my mistakes. So anything you want to add, Lex?
No, I'm glad you okay because you were nervous a little bit. You heard something. I thought you were.
Well, I'm excited for next week. I'm really excited as an investor next week at the stock market. So, I mean, this week was fantastic. A lot of people that are bulls in this market made a lot of money. So we'll see how it
We
goes
will see.
next.
We will see what happened next week because hopefully, and like I said, I hope we don't read about these guys, executive guys at the bank, First Republic, are moving monies. But let's cross our finger. Next week is gonna be a better week for everybody. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you in the next one. Take care of yourself.
Take care. Bye bye.
Peace.